You are listening to the Hammersley Brothers e-commerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Good afternoon, Ian. How are you?
Hello, Mark. I'm well. Yeah. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah. Just another podcast in the series of the 5 offers of your e-commerce site, the most essential offers. I think today we're doing the first offer, which is the recruitment offer. And arguably, well, the most important one in that without a good recruitment offer, you don't really have a business, do you? So super, super important to get it right. And I think most people get it wrong, to be honest.
Why?
Obviously, well, I think because they just look at everybody's sites and everybody just slaps on a 10% off, get your email address offer, or that's it. And it's just like, oh, we've done it. And I think, again, when we talked last week about what the offering was, people just think offer. They don't think of offering of what we're doing. And so, critically, we talked about the 5 types of e-commerce businesses. For a lot of them, the recruitment offer is really essential. Obviously, if you're a one-ticket high timer, then your first sale, your recruitment offer is your offer. It is the only offer you're going to have because no one's going to come back and buy a wedding dress the next time. But for like a compounder, like it is the difference between doing millions and doing thousands, isn't it? Like it's complete light and day between the two. So you were talking about something the other day which was interesting about how you had packaged up the offer for the first time customer to make it more like easy to swallow, I guess, is what we're talking about. So why don't you talk about your thinking around that, and I can maybe probe what it was. And you were like doing like the 30-day trial or the 30-day challenge or something like that. So that was interesting. So why don't you talk about that, and then we can dive a little bit further into how we do it.
Yeah. So when we say recruitment, just hearing it from your word, we say recruitment of new customers. We mean actually how do you recruit a new customer? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a customer to buy in the first place. We're trying to convert them into from a prospect into a customer, basically. A customer coming in the shop and buying something for the first time. And if you go back to the history of where our thinking was, really, we were really thinking about, well, let's try to get people to buy. If we get more people to buy, that's great, isn't it? We want a high conversion offer. But the real thing that we really look at, I haven't said that very well, but the main, the art of it is try to get the right sweet spot between conversion rate and average order value. Because if you have a really high converting first time customer offer, but the average order value is really low, you can't scale. And conversely, if you have a really high average order value first time customer offer, but the conversion rate's really low, you can't scale. So you need a sweet spot between the two. And that's really bloody obvious when I say it. But there's something magical about realizing that return on ad spend, particularly for new customers, is a mixture of conversion rate and average order value. So the context of what I was saying before was we're working with a beauty brand, and we could recruit new customers quite successfully, but the ROAS was still really low. Like the first customer ROAS was still too low. It just wasn't good enough. And you go and you look at it and you go, well, there's nothing wrong with the conversion rate. Conversion rate's really high. We're getting the click-through rate on the ads. The click-through rate's fine. The conversion rate's fine. The add to basket's fine. The bounce rate, the add to basket, the basket to checkout, the checkout to order's all fine. Tick, tick, tick. Right? No problem with conversion rate. But what isn't fine is the fact the average order value is too low. Like we're not getting enough cash off people up front. And consequently, we then cannot scale the ads because there's not enough juice in the, pie, whatever the phrasing is.
You can't go out to the market and compete with the other people who are buying that traffic. Yeah.
So what we've got to do is get the offer architecture right that gives us enough conversion rate and enough average order value to then go and make the maths work. And this is often the problem with subscription-only businesses. So just give you an extreme example, and kind of when I'm thinking about the offer architecture, people go, "Oh, I want to, if I get people on subscription, that's great, yeah." But let me just give you two scenarios. You got two health brands that we're working with. They both have £100 that the customer gives them over a year. One of them gets it up front. The other one gets it spread equally across the month. Guess which one has the greater chance to scale? The second one, because they're getting £100 up front. So you imagine what the other person, if you're doing if it's let's say it's £10 a month, and I'm just saying, let's imagine the conversion rate's the same. All right, conversion rate's the same, and one of them's getting £10 a month, and one of them's getting £100 up front. The subscription one at £10 a month has really effectively got £10 of their ROAS is really £10, whereas the other one's doing £100. We get so much cash up front so much quicker, we can scale the ads really, really well. So I don't want to throw a curveball around subscription models, but what I'm trying to get in everybody's head is that you can scale your ads as long as the maths allow. So it's a sweet spot between conversion rate and average order value. So that example that I was mentioning before was that it's a health brand where we just hadn't got enough cash in the bank to scale the ads. The conversion rate was good, so therefore I was coming up and talking to them about doing a 3-month challenge, like a 90-day trial. So rather than saying, "Hey, here is a sample, here is a small part, it's £30," I want to go for 3 months because I want to get the average order value up because I want the ROAS to go up. So it's very, very, very hard to treble the conversion rate. Right, it's really difficult. If somebody said, right, you want to treble the conversion rate, and most people go, well, that's bloody hard, Ian, isn't it? But you can treble the average order value in certain businesses, particularly for the first time customer value. And what normally happens is you double average order value, and you can sometimes double conversion rates, and you get this massive effect. I think I've said this a few times before, but if you add 15% to your conversion rate, average order value, and traffic, you get a 50% growth. If you add a 30% increase to your conversion rate, average order value, and traffic, you double. So it kind of all works together. So
compounds
anyway,
yeah,
it's compounds, and that's an amazing kind of mathematical thing. So when I'm looking at a first-time customer recruitment offer, I'm looking at how can I hit the right sweet spot of conversion rate and value to be able to scale to get my maths right. And I would rather get more cash up front than rather than it being down the line. So that's the kind of the why.
So what? Just going into that example, the reason it works is because let's say and I won't say what the supplement's for. So let's say it's a supplement for joint pain, right? So you've got a new supplement for joint pain, and you come onto a website and they convince you that maybe it's worth having a go with this supplement, right? So if you just go, well, I'll get one pack of it, and it's $20 or something like that. So that's what you get. People try it. Some people don't remember to take it and all stuff. But if you actually package it into a 90-day challenge, you say, take our joints supplements for 90 days. And, but this is what everybody does. This is the 90-day challenge pack. You'll get the pack of the supplements. You'll get the videos and what you're supposed to do with it. You'll get the instructions, all that kind of stuff. And in the 90-day pack, there's like 3 bottles of pills or supplements, whatever it is. Like, you're taking something away from just saying, a product, that this little product, to actually being a thing. And it's actually being, I'm going to do something about that problem that I have, and I'm going to take that challenge. And therefore, it becomes less about the thing you're buying and the action that you're taking. And so that's why it increases the
and in that
order
example,
value.
it's a really good example, I think, because it's a joint pain supplement here. So if you can really demonstrate that you have solved, I mean, obviously there's health claims, you have to be careful, but if you can really demonstrate through supreme trust and credibility and positioning of your joint supplement brand, if you've really done a good job, and obviously to do that, you need to go through the 6 dominoes of e-commerce, which we've talked about many times. The positioning, the job to be done, the anxiety, etc., etc. So if you've really done that well, then you can take somebody who would come and spend a $20 one. You could take them up to a $60 one. You can do it through the right offer architecture and packaging it together. And it is in the realms of possible. And we've seen it many, many times. And guess what happens? Game-changing growth.
It's what marketers, incredible. It's what good marketers do. They take something you've literally just created out of thin air. You call it the 90 days challenge, or you call it something. You give it a name, and you turn it into a thing by then getting the customers to say, "I took the so and so challenge, and I did this, and then it happened," and then suddenly it becomes a thing. You can brand it. That's all marketing and branding is. It's taking an abstract concept and turning it into something that is real. And you go, well, if this thing was real, what tangible attributes would it have? Oh, people would be talking about in the comments. We'd be talking about on the product page. There'd be a section on the website about how to do it. There'd be mentioned in the marketing. Like it becomes a thing. You turn it into a thing, but you want it to become a thing because it's the vehicle for what you want it to be.
I mean, can I just go back a step? I think the compounding brands are a really typical example of this. And, look at somebody like AG1, the green, AG1 greens. Yeah. And, and businesses like Naked Wines, these businesses that, Naked Wines is a great example of a compounding one that we've worked with many, many times. For a long time, people probably know we've worked with Naked Wines in the past. And, they have the offer architecture for the first-time customer, isn't just something they've bolted on to top, right? It is a complete funnel in its own right. There is a, the whole.
Well, that's a classic example, isn't it, of that?
Yeah, the website. It's almost like you can't get in. It's almost like everybody has to go through this starter journey. Here's the starter pack. This is how it works. It's a specific journey just for first time. That's how powerful and important it is.
I think it was a big coupon, a big voucher amount off a crate of wine, and you had to pick 6 wines, didn't you? And so they didn't say just get your first bottle of wine 10% off. Like, they were like, hey, you're a new customer. Here's an amazing offer for you. I'm going to give you £100 off or $100 off. Just pick your 6 wines that you want to do. And you've got to get it in your mind in terms of the profit dollars you're getting from that first sale. So another example was Rob, the Facebook coach on our program. So he was talking about his first time offer because he obviously runs his own e-commerce site as well. And he was basically experimenting with 30% off first time customers, 20% off first time customers. He was selling t-shirts. And so, but he said, well, what I'm going to do is buy one t-shirt, get one free, which it sounds like you're actually giving much more away, but actually, if you sell one t-shirt, let's say it's $100. It's not $100, but it's easy for maths. $100 and 30% off, it's $70, isn't it? Right? But if you say buy one t-shirt, get one free, you're actually getting $100 in the sale. And so even with the COGS, the cost of goods for those t-shirts, which he's got quite a high margin, he's actually making more profit for sale on the first time customer, which then allows him to put it into into ads and then repeat it. So you're more interested in like the profit dollars, not necessarily the percentage profit you're getting on the first order. You've also got to think about the profit dollars overall that you're getting on at first, because if you're getting more, like you might get a slightly lower margin, but if you get more profit dollars on the first order, you've got more money to put back into the ads and keep scaling the business and grow. So it's just a concept of thinking about how can we get the money coming in the front end faster so that we can scale the back end faster as well.
Just to compound that a little bit more, I remember one of the things that was really significant when we were working with Naked Wine, and this was a long time ago, and it always resonated with me, was that you have to be emotionally aware of the customers. In order to be a good marketer and recruit new customers for the first time, you've got to emotionally understand where the customers are. Naked Wines had a paradox of choice. They were one of the businesses where people, if you just say the worst example that you could have done with Naked Wines was okay, there's 50,000 wines, you get 10% off, go. That would be, and there's no reason why there's 10% off, and there's no there's no event, there's nothing. That would be the worst. The way that it worked was genius. Number one, there was a very good new customer introductory offer that took, in order to do it, you went through the value tree, the positioning, the trust of Naked Wines. What are you buying wine the smart way? That was the first thing that was really, really key. So you really resonated the main reason why you weren't buying wine and you were competing against supermarkets. It was very, very good positioning. The second thing that they did was remove the paradox of choice. They put the most popular red wines together in a set and the most popular white wines together, and then they had a mix, which was the mix case, right? That was it. They didn't say go and choose from over 50,000 wine. They put the biggest. I mean, you could have gone and chosen, from one of these 50,000, but you didn't. You were presented.
It was recommended. Here's what we recommended you to go for. Do you like white or do you like red?
Yeah. So in your business, if you're listening to this thinking, well, am I overcomplicating the purchase for the first? Am I giving them too much choice? You should really think about how you would, if that customer was stood right in front of you if you had a physical bricks and mortar shop and they came in, what would you lead them down? What questions would you ask to lead them down, and what products would you give? Remove the paradox of choice, and you'll often find that there are certain key recruitment products in your business that you can lean in much more aggressively, and they work. And you have recruitment products and retention products and like add-on products, and so it's really understand. And I mean, take our bedding brand, right? We're having a great month. We're going to do. I mean, this is a bedding brand that we launched to talk about on the podcast, but it's a real business, and we'll do. If I put it in US dollars, we are aiming to do $900,000 this November. That's our target, and we're probably going to do it. But one of the criticisms that we have of our business partner is that he thinks that he will grow by having more bedding styles, and we think that you keep things simple. You have certain recruitment products and you have certain add-on retention products. So he's got it in his head because he's a great guy. We love him, but he's worked in retail and he's gone and he thinks that if he has more SKUs, he's going to sell more products. And we're saying, no, you're just going to complicate the range. You're going to have stock problems, and you're actually confusing the customer because they don't need 78 different variants of white frilly red bedding. They just need the core. So I think that is another mistake, is not understanding. I would put it this way: there was no chance in hell that we would get a better conversion rate if we add another 10 lines of bedding style. Like, we've got enough. We've got way too many already. all we're doing is adding complication. So I think that, understanding, have you got a paradox of choice? Are you making it easy for people to buy and leading them in that direction? And there's a trend, right? I'm going to say one thing. There's a trend, is that you'll start to see businesses that we've worked with, people like Naked Wines, and you'll see it with people like AG1 and a lot of the dog food companies, where they do a quiz. They're doing a first-time customer quiz. It isn't just, okay, here's our product collection page, here's our home, and here's all the product listing, and here's 58 products on the page. Choose one. It is you're taking people down a very specific path, and that's where I think that is a real, recognized change that we've seen over the last 5 years, and a lot of types of businesses who've gone down that particular recruitment funnel, and you're seeing it everywhere. No, it doesn't work for everybody, but there are certain businesses where you've really got to get into that level of first-time customer recruitment.
Well, also it helps, like let's say you are a compounder and you've got lots of repeat customers coming through all the time, and then you go and advertise on Meta. If you haven't got a recruitment offer and you're having to use your advertising to sell random products from your line, then all the existing customers, Facebook is just going to put those ads in front of the existing customers, and it's just going to be selling to existing customers. Whereas if you have a specific offering for first-time customers, if you have a specific offering for first-time customers, if Meta puts that in front of existing customers, they're just going to go, well, I've already had the starter pack. Now I'm into the product. That's what I want. So it helps you maintain the recruitment because it's specific messaging to say, hey, you've heard about how good our bedding is. If you want to get started, this is what people get started with. This is why we made it easy for you to get started. Like if you're like, I was talking to someone this morning about cleaning products. It's like, you've heard about our cleaning products, you're convinced that they're really good, but you're sitting there and it's like, well, I've made it really easy for you to get started. Most people get started with this cleaning kit, and that's what you're going to do. And then you work out which one you like from the products and which one you don't like and stuff like that. It's kind of like, first of all, you've got to motivate them to be that they're in the right place and that they're doing the right things and they want to buy the product. Second of all, you've got to make it easier for them to do the next step, like take it easy with the first for the first sale by packaging it into something. And then third step is incentivize them to do so. And the incentivize them to do so is like, well, this is the offer in November. This is why you should, this is going to end, So it's packaging all that up to become a vehicle for you to go and recruit customers at the highest profit dollar that you can get from the sale, which means that you can then recruit. And
honestly,
and
I think
going.
it probably sounds like we're talking a bit voodoo here. I'm not necessarily sure, if it's coming across like some sort of secret. The reality is, it is really fundamentally simple. A lot of you are going to grow by stealing market share off other people. So let's say you did an extra £20 million in your industry. You don't add often £20 million on top of an industry that's already there. You take it from somebody else.
Pulling it.
Yeah, you are exactly. I mean, I had a meeting this morning, and it's a business that we're trying to get to 100 million. That's £100 million additional. Now that is a very competitive landscape. We are not going to add 100 million on top. We'll take it. We'll take it, and we'll take it from people that are slow, that haven't understood the competitive landscape, that can't react quickly. And we are going in and we're really architecting how we can steal market share. And in order to be a disruptor, we have to be disruptive. And we often do that with the first-time customer recruitment offer. And it is absolutely key. If you are a business right now and you have slapped on this 10% welcome offer, that is a symptom, or it's a signal to me, that you haven't really understood. That's a fairly bold statement, isn't it? But it's a telltale sign to me that you've just ticking a box. That you haven't really understood how your first-time customers should behave. You've just gone and ticked a box, and you gotta really go further than that. You know, there's no point thinking about your flows and your lifetime customer value and your retention. If you're not recruiting any new customers in the first place, if you haven't got any new customers coming into the business, you can't get any lifetime customer value there. So you've really got to go deeper into it. So I don't know how many people are listening to this who's got a 10% welcome offer right now? Probably a lot. Still.
It's just, to be honest, like, I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, if you've got it, you've got to replace it with something. You've got to replace it with something better. It's better than having nothing. But it's like, it's almost like you've bought a template of a website and it's had a 10% off pop up on it, and you're going, oh, okay, we'll do that, you know.
And the other telltale sign, sorry to go to stop you, but the other telltale sign is if you are running an ad, you're running your ads, or you've got an agency who's running their ads, and they are just giving you an overall ROAS across the whole business, and they're not telling you what the new customer ROAS is. They're just giving you a ROAS across everything, across the board, and they're not giving you a breakdown of what ROAS you're getting product by product. And they're just giving you this overall like blended mush. And, you know, there's no difference between how we are architecting and targeting new customers using Google and new customers using Meta. You know, in Meta, is your frequency really high? You know, are you just hitting the same people over and over and over and over again? In Google, are you overbidding on brand? Because that's a signal that you're just, you know, letting Google take your money. You know, so there are certain things that we would look at and go, is there, you know, okay, the business looks okay, but really, you know, if we want to double it, treble it, quadruple it, like this is we have to be brutal on ourselves. We have to really go be better, because you're never going to grow. You are slowly going. You might grow slowly, 10-20% if you're lucky. But, you know, a lot of businesses that we work with, and you know, we want double. We want double growth. If you're doing like, you know, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, you should be doubling every year.
Yeah. You didn't get into the business to do 500,000 a year, did you?
No.
I mean, it's not. I mean, what you're going to do? Sit there and sit in the pain without the good stuff? You want to get to the good stuff, don't you? So
this is the core, yeah. This is the core. I was just saying, this is the core. This is the biggest thing that I see changing the landscape of growth. Is the first time customer offer architecture, right? And this is absolute key. Get this right, then go and look at your structure of your ad account. Then go and look at your structure of your Meta account. Then go and think about maybe doing some, you know, geo SEO stuff, you know, this is like the foundation. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and it's not just about discount. It can be value trees. It can be buy one get one free. It can be like there's all these different things
Get the
you can
AOV
do.
up.
You can package it as a 30-day trial or something like that. There's lots of things you can do to become the vehicle you need. And I know a lot of people who are on our programs listen to our podcasts. So if you wanted to go into more detail on this, there's a lot more in the workshop that's called the Offer Architecture Workshop. And I did it not too long ago. So if you haven't looked at that workshop, that's where I'd start. And it goes through those different offers that you need to do for your different businesses. And we kind of play it out. Also, you can ask me in the community and on the calls about what offers. And if we haven't worked it out, you know, now's your chance to come forward and actually really dial it in, because it is the difference between, it's light and day, really. It's light and day. Yeah. Day and night, even.
Agreed.
Not light and day.
Yeah, light and day, that's wrong, isn't it?
Day and night.
Yeah.
Light and dark. It's like mixing. It's like, yeah. Anyway,
I've got nothing to say from that.
No.
Yeah, you do, slightly.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
We'll be back next week with the second offer, whatever that may be. I've forgotten what it is. We'll have to find out. You'll find out next week.
Getting the second sale.
Getting the second sale.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you soon.
All right.
Cheers.
See you, everybody.
Bye.